Hello Flosstube! This is Becky, the South Texas Stitcher. Today is Friday, October 7th. This is take 3. I still am getting the shadow on my face, but I'm sorry. This is October. You'll just have to pretend that, it's the ghost of Yorick or somebody like that. Excuse me. Anyway, if you're new to the Flosstube, welcome and thank you for joining in. If you're returning, thank you. I mean, I don't have the thousands of viewers that some Flosstubers have. I'm just impressed that any of you want to come back and watch again. I love to stitch. It's relaxing, and especially right now. The last Flosstube, I mentioned that I was going to possibly be having surgery. I'm definitely having surgery this coming Monday, October 11th. So if you see this before then, and if you're a praying person, I covet your prayers. If you're not a praying person, at least, think a good thought. I have a good doctor. They've done all the tests. I don't want any more tests. Thank you very much. Just do it. I'm in quarantine right now because you have to quarantine 7 days before any surgery right now, so that you make sure that you don't come in with COVID. Of course, they do a COVID test before that, and they tell you if you're negative or positive. And then, so Tuesday, I had the COVID test, and I had to come home, and I have been home since Tuesday. And my husband is gone this week, and sitting at the house by myself with just the cat for all these days is making me a little crazy. But anyway, I have to admit, it has helped because I've been able to fully finish a few objects. So that is going to be what I show you first. I have essence of haul because truly I've not gone anywhere. I went to the LNS back in September. That was the last time I went there. And then they got sick and had to close the store for a week. So, I mean, it has just been crazy here lately. And I hope that y'all are all doing well. But enough with me. Let me show you what I have done. So this was a free cross stitch pattern from Renato Parolin. I don't know if it's Renato. I think it's Renato Parolin. So this was the free pattern, and it ended up being bigger than I thought. So I wasn't sure what to do with it. So I turned it into a throw pillow, and probably I should have put it a little higher up this way so that this part wouldn't get disappearing into the sofa when it sits on it. This ribbon right here, I have to tell you, my grandmother passed away in 1992, and I received all her sewing stuff. In that was a huge box full of ribbons and lace and just elastic and zippers and stuff like that. I have slowly but surely been working my way through it. Let's see, did I bring it in? No, I didn't. Yes, I did. This ribbon, I don't know how old it is. And I put this ribbon on here because that was a lot of pumpkins to look at, and I was like, I gotta break up the pumpkins. So that ribbon, which I made into a little bow, came out of this packaging. I don't know if you can see that. It was 60 cents. I don't know when that was, but I know you can't buy this kind of ribbon anymore for 60 cents, even for that little piece. But I used the whole little package and had to iron it a gazillion times because it had been sealed up. Knowing my grandmother, it probably could have been from the 70s. So this is antique ribbon. When I do a pillow like this, I finish it to where you can pull it apart and pull the insert out. That way, I can take it off and store it flat, the stitched piece, and that way it doesn't get damaged. And then I can also just make another cover and put it back on the sofa and keep going. So that was piece number 1 that I finished. Then I am in a special group right now that is doing a stitch along giveaway. Is that what you would call it? Anyway, we're all stitching the same piece, and then in November we're going to swap. Everybody's gonna get a different name, and we'll all just send them around. This was from Heartstring Samplery, and it's called Nextdoor. Most people are finishing it as a little pillow. I put mine in a project bag. And I did not have all the correct colors. And I actually was at the LNS and I was looking at them. I said, you know, I think I have similar colors. I'm not going to buy more. So this is how mine came out, and I love this fabric because it had wildflowers, and these had wildflowers on it. And I don't mean wildflowers as in bluebonnets and Mexican paintbrush. I mean as in bizarre. So those flowers, and this is the colors I picked for it. And these were, just as I said, most of them were had in my stash. There was a couple that I actually had that were the call for colors, so that helped. The red, though, that is a Threadworks. I love Threadworks. And I'm stupid because I did not buy Threadworks when I had the opportunity when my LNS was still open, because they had the full line. And Threadworks has 20 yards on a skein, and it costs $1 more than Weeks Dye Works and Gentle Arts and all those. And I thought, why was I buying those overdyes and using those instead of buying 3, or you'd have to buy 4 to get 20 yards. Hindsight is hindsight. But anyway, this is Threadworks. I don't know, I know they have names, but I just know this one is $10.97. And then I did not have the banana yellow or whatever it was called, so I used butternut squash from Gast, and the rest were Weeks Dye Works. And I had grasshopper, boysenberry, and I think boysenberry was actually one of the called for colors. And you may be able to see that cat hair all over these because Chekhov keeps laying on everything. And then Ocean replaced the turquoise color that they had called for. And I would show you the pattern, but I did not buy a paper pattern. I bought the digital pattern, and there's no color copy. So I couldn't print off the cover to show you. They just sent you the pattern. And I was like, well, I at least wanted the cover so I could print that off to show you, but I don't. So, and then the last piece was gunmetal. And those were the colors that I used for it. But this is on 14 count Aida, and I tea-dyed this myself. So this was a piece I found, and I thought I picked it up at a retreat, but I'm thinking I may have found it in my mother's garage, and it was grody and gringy and every nasty little word you can think of that looks for something that you just want to go, ew. But it was a huge piece of Aida. So I brought it home and had been listening to everybody talking about dyeing and our tea dyeing and coffee dyeing. I don't drink coffee, but I have tea. So I know, I'm odd. I don't drink coffee. But I have a big kettle, and this was a big piece of fabric. So I had some old tea that I wasn't going to drink because I didn't know how old it was. But, you know, if you're like me, if you go into your pantry, you have to clean it out like once a year because you're like, oh my God, that expired 2 years ago. So anyway, I took all this old tea bags and dumped them in my kettle and boiled it. And then when it got to the point where it was no longer boiling and I pulled it off the oven, the stovetop, I just took the whole piece of fabric and dumped it in. Didn't even unfold it. I just left it as the fold because it was when you tried to unfold it, dust and things were going in the air. So I'm not unfolding this. So I just dumped it in. Well, everybody talks about you're not supposed to leave it in for like 20-30 minutes. I went off to go do other things and forgot about it. So when I came back, it was a lot darker than most people's tea dye. But I liked the way it came out. It took out the grunginess. And after that, I baked it, so it got all the little lines and everything. So it came out pretty well, in my opinion. But, you know, it is what it is now because now I can't. I guess I could have washed it again and taken some of the tea out, but I liked the dark. The next thing I finished, also on the tea-dyed fabric because I said it was a big piece, so I've been chopping it up into smaller pieces. I finished Niecy Lynn's pattern, way up high on the Christmas tree, 5 little candy canes winking at me. Winked at me. She had the year here. I didn't want to put the year because I didn't want to. What I'm going to do is I'm going to write everything on the bottom. And I did not paint the bottom just so I could write on it. Anyway, that is the box. And I won this off of her video. It was one of her giveaways or her shares. And she had finished it in this box also. So she went to Hobby Lobby and 5 of us received a box and the pattern because she herself designed the pattern. If you go to her Facebook page, somewhere, I know she's got a link. I'll see if I can find the link and get and post it if you are interested in this little design. I don't know if you can see it. Let's see if I get it. The tree, I used 699 Etoile. And then this was some DMC gold. It's the E numbers. I can't think of what it is right now. Everything else was in either DMC or Sulky, just whatever I had at hand. I think, oh, and the little cats were in the other thing, not Anchor. They were in Anchor. Everything else was Sulky or DMC. I bought Anchor. Excuse me, lean forward here. I bought a spool of black of the Anchor. Everybody told me how great Anchor is for coverage. I didn't find a big difference. What I did find was as I was stitching with it, the black was coming off on my hand. I have never had that happen with DMC. This leaked onto my hand. So I definitely would not want to wash anything that had this black on it. And I was not real amused when I was stitching, and all of a sudden I went, oh my gosh, there's black all over my hand. I mean, I look like I've been using newsprint. If you don't know what a newsprint is, that means someone who used to look at newspapers. I'm sorry, it's an age thing. Anyway, my next finish. I have been working on a year of RedBird designs. At this moment, I think you can only get RedBird designs from 3 Stitches in Spring, Texas. And I know that this year's monthly little thing was all needlework notions and supplies. I haven't been able to go to Spring, Texas because it's near Houston. And personally, I don't like going to Houston. My daughter doesn't live too far away, but she's not had time. So I would love to see what this year's stuff looks like, but I'm still working on last year's. So this is November. This is the November, and I have this that I put on my Texas board, and right now October is up there, but this is November, and all of them have a cardinal on them, a little red bird for the RedBird designs, and they're not super big or anything, but for some reason I cannot knock these out in one day. You would think that it's not very big, that I could just sit down and stitch a couple of hours and I'd be done. Nope. It takes me 2 to 3 days, and I have no idea why. Of course, this one, I got home and I had all the oranges. And then I thought, okay. So I started to stitch the wagon, but I did not have the color that it called for. I think it was cappuccino. Every brown overdyed I had looked horrible. So this one was delayed in being stitched because I had to wait till I could get back to an LNS and pick up some cappuccino. It is now done though. So it was ready for November. And since it's got pumpkins, it's on my dining room table in my little stand so that people can see pumpkins. Then this is my last finish. Just a little pillow. This is a Prairie Schooler. This is from one of the little cards. that they used to put on the countertops of L&S's. This one was from 2012, and it was just a little boo, and I've had it since 2012, and I had never bothered stitching it because it was small and I didn't know what to do with it. Well, since I have been watching Flosstubes, and I have been seeing everybody with dough bowls and tiered stands and stuff, and I was like, I finally know what to do with the little cards that I have been collecting all these years. And I have 4 of them. I probably had more. I just have no idea where they would be at. But this one's Boo. I have Christmas, 4th of July, Easter, Christmas, 4th of July, Halloween, and Easter. So yes, so this is the second one I've done. I haven't done the other 2 yet. But I like the Boo. This is the one where I discovered that the black anchor was running on my hands, and this is on white fabric, and I was like, this is just a piece of 28 count white even weave. I don't know if it's Lugana or Joblin. I don't do the slice in the back to fill it. I just used fiber fill. I didn't use anything fancy. I finished it across the bottom. Hopefully you can't see the seam. My grandmother was a professional seamstress. She sewed for a company here in San Antonio. My mother was not a professional seamstress, but she was a seamstress. And I can tell you this, that if I had fixed that where you could see the seam where I closed it, my grandmother would come back to haunt me and my mother would chase me down with a big stick. So I know how to close a seam to where it's hidden and that you can't see. The only thing that you can really tell where it's at is because the linen, when you're doing a hidden seam, it does pull just a little bit so you can see the stitches. But that is my Boo. And that is all. 5 finishes. Fully finishes. I'm so excited. 5 fully finishes. Then the next things I have a little bit of haul. And excuse me just a moment, I have to lean really far forward for this. Oops. You know what? I just realized I forgot something. Just a moment. All right, I'm back. Let's see how to show this. Okay. One of my people that I like to watch on Flosstube is Artist Design, Amanda May. She is awesome. I love her stitching. Some of it's a little more bizarre than what I want to stitch, but she's an excellent person to listen to, and I love the fact that she likes to use antique linens and save old stitching and shows you what to do with scraps that you think, I really can't do anything with that, but she proves you wrong. So if you ever want to watch someone like that, Artist Design, Amanda May. Excuse me. This is her new pattern. It was one of the new patterns. Flamingos. I think it's so cute. My youngest daughter, my mother's family is Hispanic. My youngest daughter always wanted me to go and get pink flamingos for the yard, because she always said, you know, Hispanic families have the pink flamingos in the yard. And I kept telling her, we are not putting plastic pink flamingos in my yard. Just no. So I think I'm going to stitch this for her. If she doesn't want it, I love it. I think it's hysterically funny. I love the fact that this flamingo is at a party and there are drinks everywhere. My kind of flamingo. And you can buy at, I've seen them at like Walmart and stuff like that, the dead flamingos, or the zombie flamingos, whatever you want to call it, because this is supposed to look like bone. So, yes. And then this came with the specialty floss that you need for him inside. And I don't think it's reflective or anything. It's just a special. It's called Summer Shower Metallic Silver, and it's by wonderfill.com. And Amanda May got with them to do a special bobbin for the piece. So it was like a little kit. And put that back in there because I don't want to lose it. With this, she also sent a drink, and it's got the holes for your floss. This is kind of thin. I don't think I'd put my floss on it, but I thought that was cool that she sent me a recipe for the Wicked Flamingo drink. And it's some of this stuff, I don't even know what it is. Butterfly Peatea. And yeah, don't know what that is. So anyway, it was interesting. Also, in her little package, she sent me this little thank you with a little teeny key on the little loopy pins there. When I saw this, I went, oh, I don't have an Amanda May project that'll go on, but I have one of the Barbara Anna free patterns that you get off of Instagram that's called The Key, and I'm thinking that's going to go on that because I do want to do that, and I want to do that for my youngest granddaughter. She is 3. Yeah, she'll be 4 in January, and she doesn't have any pictures on her wall. My son-in-law has this thing about hanging things on the wall, so we're gonna have to talk. One day I'm gonna start sending him all this stuff. So, and then this was the last thing I got from Amanda May Artist Design, and she hand painted flamingos to look like the design of her piece, and I think that is cool. So I mean, when I finish it, I figure out a way to make sure he's attached to the pin, because he's not actually a pin, I don't think. Yes, he is. I'm sorry, I lied. He is a pin. So I think that is so cool. So that was a little extra that I bought. So that was everything that I got from Artist Design. When I went to the LNS a couple of weeks ago, or back in September, I guess it was about early September. You ever go through the overdyes and just go, huh, does anything catch your eye? And I did that, and I laughed because I bought gunmetal. I did not realize I already had it. So I bought gunmetal. Let's see, I can use this. And then this one I thought was gorgeous. This is called Trade Wind, and it's a gas. I thought those colors were awesome. And I just buy one skein. I don't know what I'll do with them, but it's sometimes nice to have just a single skein that you can use for something different. And this one was called Dragonfly. This one I thought those colors was fantastic. I actually thought about using this one for my Nextdoor, the lettering, but I didn't think it had enough turquoise in it to do that, and I didn't want it to disappear into that fabric that I had overdyed or tea-dyed. Then this is not from the LNS, but I found these at a quilt store, and I'm going to give these away as a gift, I think. But it's patriotic lollipops on a pair of little scissors. And I thought they were so cute. So I don't necessarily need another pair of scissors. I have lots of scissors. So those were going to probably be a little gift. And then I think I put the, yes. Also at the same quilt store, which I think I may go buy some more of these. This is a pair of scissors that I found at a quilt store. These are awesome. And they were only $2.95, and I'm forever running around looking for scissors to grab for my project bags if I'm going to leave with one. And I think I'm going to buy a couple more of these so I can stick them in my bags and not have to worry about if I have scissors with me or not. It's a good thing I have a pocket knife with me, because sometimes I have actually used my pocket knife that I keep in my purse. One of those things where, you know, we're Texans, we carry knives. The other thing I bought, and let me take this out of the plastic, because I think the glare is going to just blind you otherwise. This is Hanan, the deity of the morning. Isn't she gorgeous? Now I have Mayari She's not deity of the night. She's goddess of the moon, I think. And they complement each other. I think they face each other. And she's in purples, and this one is in gold. And I just fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to have it. I have started Mayari. I need to get her out, work on her. I'm going to have to be at home for 6 to 8 weeks. According to the paperwork I got, they gave me a list of things you could do from week 1 to week 6. And you can't go anywhere because I can't put a seatbelt across my chest for 6 weeks. One of the, like, number 3 on the list, needlework. And I was like, thank you God. So this is Hanan. So I'm going to have Hanan and Mayari. I just love Bella Filipina. If you have not looked at their website or gone to their Facebook page, I highly recommend them. Their patterns are clear to read and everything. I have not found any errors. Awesome. And I have several of the patterns. Mayari is the first one I started stitching on. Then a lot of people saw this come out recently. And as you can tell, I do like long dogs. This is the new one. This is called When the Stars Reply. And I thought that was fascinating. And this is from, what did they call it? A stitching style called Amugera or something like that. She gave a little synopsis of it on Facebook when it came out. And Amager. This distinctive style of decorative needlework panels was brought to the island of Amager, which lies just outside the city of Copenhagen in Denmark, by Dutch settlers from the island of Marken many centuries ago, which explains the evident similarities between the two genres. So I thought it was interesting, but what I really found interesting is this section here. If you ever traveled or ever looked at National Geographic or something like that, this makes me think of Mayans, of the astronaut Mayan section, that right there. And when I saw that, because I was like, I don't need another long dog to stitch, but when I saw that, I went, oh, I must stitch that. Even if I just stitch that panel. Because see, what's nice about that one, see, if you want, you can just stitch it in little pieces. You don't have to do one big piece. I like that idea too. Sometimes a smaller piece is, you know, exciting. Now, I did not buy this, but I won a giveaway on Flosstube from Nisi Lynn. Once again, I was so surprised. I was like, wow, I won 2 things from her now. This is very small. I need to stitch it up. I just haven't done it yet. This is Hats Off to Uncle Sam, and it's a little drum, but the whole pattern is just this little piece here. So we're talking, it is like 40 by 40. It's very small. Anyway, the big thing is you're supposed to finish it into this box to make it look like this. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to finish it as a little pin cushion and then put it in my tiered stand for the holidays, because I really don't want to have to go and track down a paper mache box and do all that. I am not the greatest of painters, and so mine would not look like that. I was just happy the wooden box came out looking okay. The other things, now see, one of the things that I thought about, people are talking about being November as a black sampler November, because I got a blue sampler. I've got 2 red samplers going, which I haven't worked on in a while and I need to. But they're talking about doing a black sampler November. I've never done a black sampler, namely because 310 sometimes is hard to find. Well, now we have Sulky and we have other blacks we can use. And do you have to be a solid black, or can you use an overdyed black? I mean, the color, it's just, you know, the mind is like, what can I use? So kind of thinking of that, but not thinking of it, because I just grabbed them because I thought they were cool. I grabbed some fat quarters, and I have 2 of each of these. I just want to show you these though. I could use these as the backing for something small for a black sampler November. Cool. And I need to pause you just a moment. Okay, I'm back. Also for my black sampler September, November. What month is this? This is a fat quarter I bought, and I bought 2 of them. But I love this piece of fabric. It looks like, what do you call it? An old ledger that has been drawn on. Because if you look closely, I don't know if you can see it. You can see handwriting in the ledger areas. I thought this piece was pretty, but this also would look very pretty with a black and white sampler. And I may have to consider that one also. One of those little panels that I just showed you from the Nude Long Dog sampler would look excellent with those as a little pillow. Yes. Anyway, oh, excuse me as I bend over here. The next thing I was going to show you is my works in progress. I have worked on 3 different projects since I seen you last. Actually, I think I may have worked on 4. I think I worked on my granddaughter's Christmas stocking, but I don't want to pull it out right now. Which, of course, I still need to work on it. Anyway, I went back to work on my Modern Folk Embroidery, which got put away for a little bit, but now it's back out. I finally finished March. Woohoo! March was killing me. I don't know what it was about March, but March made me nuts. So I have moved down now to, yes, April. Say, what comes after March? April. So this section here is April. And it went to about here. So you have April, May, June. So then July is this section here, because I wanted to go ahead and make the entire octagonal piece, because it was one of those deals where it's like, I just wanted to be able to say, I was concerned. I was afraid I was coming down wrong here. So I said, you know what? Let's just go ahead and finish off the octagonal piece, and I'll do the whole piece, which is going to be in April and July. So I'll finish this, and then I've got to do the, what do they call that? A CC stitching? I got to finish that. All this section is a CC stitching, so I got to do all that. And then I can move on. But it's one of those deals where it's like, yes, progress is being made. I don't know what it was in I could not get March to move. I mean, I would stitch on it and it was like, oh my God, there's still more March. March would not end. It was like COVID all over again. We got stuck in March of 2020. I could not get out of March of 2021 on my Modern Folk Embroidery. Then the next thing I worked on, last weekend, we went to see my son and his family before I get stuck at home. My oldest daughter has offered to come at Thanksgiving and make my Thanksgiving dinner. So I'm looking forward to that. And my youngest daughter finally has a working car. And we haven't been able to see them in a while. So hopefully I may get to see them around Thanksgiving too, when I can start having visitors and stuff again. I worked on, this is my Log Dog Legal High. And I did this little section here. And it's an interesting upside down flower. And then it goes up here. And so I was doing this, and then I kind of stopped because the next thing was like, and I was working in bad lighting. It was one of those deals where I don't know what it is with my children. They don't believe in lights in their house. I mean, I have lights, extra lights to sit around. Now, and I had that before I became a diehard stitcher. I had it because I was a reader and I did not want to always have the overhead on. Well, their houses just have an overhead. And I don't know about you, an overhead light is not enough. And yes, it was making me just a little crazy. So that is Legal High, and I have done some stitching on that. Notice it was a blue sampler. I got stuck in blue. Of course, I have to admit I like blue. My front bedroom is nothing but blue. And then I pulled out, yes, I pulled out the Summerland from Owl Forest Embroidery because I want to get to work on the acorn. And I did a little bit of it so I could see the color and stuff, which I absolutely love. So I went back to work on my Southern Land, and I have worked more on that. So I have finished the 3 pages across the bottom, and I've started on the middle 3 pages because it's a 9-page pattern. And I think right around in here, I think right in there, this is page 2 or page 4. I think this part here is in page 1. So I've actually touched 3 pages going up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way up to the top of page 1 so that I can see how tall, because I already know how far across the bottom it goes. Several people have done these. And you can see them on Flosstube and of course on Instagram. And I do put some of my stuff on Instagram. I do have a small Instagram presence. I'm not a big Instagrammer. I have trouble with Instagram. I don't know what it is. I take a picture and I go to put it on Instagram, and all of a sudden my cell phone has 3 copies of the same picture, and I'm like, what did I do? So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Excuse me, on Instagram. And it's like, we need to fix that. I need to put all my finishes on there. I have not done that yet. I did put my November on. Yes, I did put November on. And I have the October piece, which is also a pumpkin, but it's wearing a witch's hat. And I showed that last year in my October Flosstube because I loved it and I wanted it up. It's hanging up on the wall now. Otherwise, I'd go bring it to you and show it to you. That is all that I have right now. It looks like I'm going to be at home stitching because that's all I'm going to be allowed to do for the next 6 to 8 weeks after this surgery. I'm not going to be able to go and do anything now. I have to admit, some of the ladies that I stitch with on Zoom, they commented that just because I can't go to an L&S does not mean I can't go and buy things online. And I was like, you know, that is true. And if I'm going to do a black sampler in November, I'm probably going to have to go buy black floss. But I think I have several skeins of 310 that I've been hoarding. So I could do a small black sampler. So we will see. But anyway, I hope you all have a good day. I hope you all have a great day stitching. And no frogs. Nobody needs a frog. I've been very lucky here lately. I've only had to frog very infrequently. Some people may have seen, if you follow me on Facebook or anything like that, I had made a mistake right here. This particular one went up too high. And I put a picture on Facebook and I said, should I fix it? I mean, it was one stitch. And I had some people do, and several people said, what mistake? And I was like, oh, thank you. You can't even see it. Several people went, oh, I'd fix that. And then other people went, if you can live with it, let it go. And then I started thinking about it. I'm one of those people that once it was on the wall for the rest of my life, I would obsess that that one was one stitch too high. So I had to frog back down to here and refix all that. But yes, I'm one of those people that if it's got one stitch wrong, it's going to obsess with me. Let's see if I can make this turn a little bit. I'm going to get blown out with lights here. Let's see. The piece, check off, the piece right here. The Lady of the Thread by Lavender and Lace. I know it's too far away to see it. The lights are blowing it out. Sorry. I didn't mean to blind you. One of the grapes is one thread over. Every time I look at it closely, I go, that grape's in the wrong spot. And my husband says, look away. Don't look at it. So It will harass you for the rest of your life if you know you made a mistake and you could have fixed it and you didn't before it was framed. I didn't know it until after it was framed. But anyway, as I said before, I wish you all a good day. No frogs. You have a great day stitching, and God bless you. I will talk to you as soon as I am able to get my life back together after major surgery. Anyway, God bless. Bye.